the current note out of the forms state altogether. No longer have state here. Instead, put that on app, and then have a method in app that clears it out. And everything in NoteForm can watch that. So once we've done that, then we could have a method in the sidebar easily enough that clears that thing out. So that's going to be a little bit of work, but we can handle it. We're tough. So in app.js, yesterday we decided to go with the current node ID so that we could create more work for ourselves today. So instead of keeping track of the current node ID, don't need to do that anymore. Let's just keep track of the current node. Yes, if you didn't change your code to match mine yesterday, then you get out of jail free today. So the blank note method should probably be on app as well. So I'll move that out of here. We'll put this up here. I'll just put it, I don't know, right before save note. And then in the constructor, I can initialize current note to this dot blank note. And every place that we currently pass down current node ID, we need to pass down current node instead. So let's see, where all do we refer to current node? Well, here we go in save note. We don't want to do that anymore. Instead, it seems that when we set state at the end, we just need to make sure that current node is that one. So notes, current note, note. We can make this a multi-liner if we want. Makes sense? So when we save a note, we want to make sure that it is the current node in state. Particularly important if the ID changed. Otherwise, it probably is already that one, although we'll be creating a copy of the note. All right. Where else? Set current note ID. So we don't need set current note ID anymore. We could have a set current note that just receives a note as its argument. Maybe not super necessary at this point, but render main, we are passing down set current node ID. Instead, we want set current note, which I need to rename up here. Did I do that? Wherever it was. Oh, we'll get to it. And current node ID in the note data should be current note. Okay, that seems to be all the references to current node ID. So it's passing that down through main, right? So in main, we get the props. We pass set current node ID down to note list. Make sure you change it both places here. Set current note, set current note. Following that down to note list.js. Up here, when we deconstruct our arguments, change it to set current note. And down here, we need to change this to set current note when it passes it on to the note component. So in the note component, where we have set current node ID, we'll change it to set current note. 2 places. Back up to main. We also pass down all the props to NoteForm. And that's kind of what started this whole thing. In NoteForm right now, we have state. And we're not going to do that anymore. So get rid of that constructor. And we won't need to receive props anymore either. I mean, we won't need to watch for changes to the props. We had to do that because we had to make sure that the note in this component's state was updated with what got passed down to the props. But now we're just going to use what got passed down to the props directly, so we don't need to worry about that anymore. All right. So every place we're using this dot state, something's going to have to change. So inside handle changes, instead of this dot state dot note, that would be this dot props. This is a class, not a stateless functional component. This dot props dot current note, I believe we called it, right? So now note is a copy of that. We change its value, and we set state, and then we call save note passing in that note, and it should not be this dot state dot note. It should just be this note that we copied out of this dot props. So we don't need to set state, right? Set state note. There's no state anymore in this component. So all we have to do is call this dot props save note note. No state involved. Handle submit. We're not going to use handle submit at all. That was just for clearing out the form, and we're moving that button to the sidebar, right? So just get rid of handle submit altogether, and then get rid of the on submit on the form that called it, and get rid of the submit button. Okay, handle remove. This dot props remove note, this dot state dot note. It is not this dot state dot note anymore. It is this dot props dot current note, right? Because we're passing it down from the state on app. So the state is no longer in NoteForm itself. Let's make sure everything's okay down here. On the input and the text area, we're setting the value. These are controlled components. To this dot state dot note dot title, it is now this dot props dot current note dot title, and this dot props dot current note dot body. And that seems like it ought to do it. Let's see if we ruined everything. Well, not everything. I don't get errors right off the bat. If I click one of these, NoteForm is changing a controlled input of type text to be uncontrolled. Input elements should not switch from controlled to uncontrolled. All right, so we screwed this up. What did we do wrong? Oh, I meant this dot blank note. Yeah, this dot blank note, which is here. Oh, did I update? So we went all the way down to note here. Did we change the onClick? The onClick calls set current note and passes in note ID. Did not change that to pass in the note, right? It's no longer the ID that it's setting. It's the note itself. So I need to make one more little change. Now if I click one, it populates the form. What about delete? Well, it deleted, but it refreshed the page. Did you notice that? Did you see it? What gives? Anybody encounter this and fix it? No one encountered this. So, problem. We took the submit button out. If you have a button inside a form and it's the only button and it does not have a type on it, it will assume type submit. So if there's no submit button, this will become the submit button. We can fix that just by saying type equals button. Then it's not type submit. And it will no longer submit the form when you click it. It will just do whatever we said. Try that again. Okay, it didn't refresh the page that time. Notice deleting did not clear out the form, though. That's unfortunate. So it should probably do that. So handle remove calls remove note from app. Right here. So remove note should probably blank out the current note. That's something we're going to need to do more than once. So I'm actually going to, up where we have blank note there. Where do we have set current note? There we go. I'm also going to have one called reset current note. Doesn't need any arguments. And it's going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be this dot set state, or no, actually, just this dot set current note to this dot blank note. It's easier to just call this than it is to do that. So then, whenever we delete remove note, we will set state, and I will wait until after state is set to call this dot reset current note. So right now I don't have a save and new button at all. So I definitely need to make this one in the sidebar actually work. Or I can only create one more note, right? I have to refresh the page if I want a new note. So now I have more than one note. Let's click one of them and delete it. Oh, explode. Cannot read property title of null. So the note got set to null. So reset current note. Calls this set current note and passes in this dot blank note. And somehow inside the note component, note itself is null. That's interesting. So up and remove. Oops. Oh, no, wait. I did put that outside of there. Oh. What's that do? No, it doesn't like that. Yeah, if that's already the... Yeah, I actually need to reset current note first. Yeah, so we set nodes node ID to null. We need to reset current note. Then we can set state. Yep, so it gets blown away before I get down to setting state. Now if I click this and I hit delete, okay, it goes away and all is well. Yep. So for that sidebar. So the sidebar needs to be able to call reset current note. Just needs to be able to blank it out. That's inside main. So we could just add to the actions in main. Reset current note. This dot reset current note. Down in main, just make sure that we pass that on to sidebar. Reset current note equals props.reset current note. And in the sidebar then, we have this new note button. Seems that could just call on click. Need to get it out of our arguments here, right? So we'll destructure that. Reset current note. And the onClick can just be reset current note. Make sense? So now the form is bound to whatever the value of this.state.current note is up in app component. So we changed all the other components so that they reference the same thing when they need to change the current note. So this button needs to change the current note. Clicking on a note in note component needs to do that. So we change both of those places, and hopefully it works. Let's click this. There it is. Click new, and it blanks out. Add another one. It works. Add another one. It works. Yay. If I click one of these, can I edit it? Yep, that still works. Edit an existing one. Create a brand new one. Also, go us. Question? Make sense? Yeah, Tom.
So for this one, if you click the button several times, what will happen?
If I click the button several times, nothing.
And in the note list, will there be like several empty nodes or something?
Not on this one. It may be, I don't know, I'm not sure which part you're missing. It could be when you save. But I mean, if you don't even type anything, then it should never call save. But I do set current note to the note there, but that shouldn't make any difference. And do you set current note to a blank note at first, or like an empty object or something?
Maybe I kind of like, when I add, I probably save that first, so then I call it.
Oh, okay. So I labeled the button save and new just because new didn't make sense for where we put it. But now that it just has a plus on it, it never really saved. All it did was clear out the form because it saved every time you typed. So yeah, you don't need to do that. Yeah, Jaden.
I'm getting an error.
Okay. Let me go ahead and commit this. Move NoteForm state up to app.